We are entering section B of Toadsuck Park. Kind of give you some idea of what the park's like, the layout of it, and the individual sites that they have here and available. This here is BO3. It's a nice level spot, good view of the river, good view of the dam. It's really a nice spot. As you can see, it's got the cover over the table. BO4, same level spot. Got a nice cover over the table. Nice pad. BO5, good spot. It's got a little bit more of an incline to it, for you have to drop the front end down to get leveled. It is really a good spot also for the river. This could be used as a family or individual. This is a B1. It has it's level. It'd take a large rig. Yes, B1 and 2. B6. One of the things that you might want to notice on some of these, that like B6 here, is that you do have flow that's coming down. This has got a little bit more of an angle, but anytime we see dirt collecting up like that, we know that water stands, and more likely if it's got a good rain coming here, you're going to have water standing around your camper. B7 and B8. B8 is a pretty level. B7's got a slant to it. Short camper, it's not a big deal. Longer camper, you're going to have to raise it a little bit up in the front. Playgrounds. They've got 3 large playgrounds similar to this one here. Let's try to show them as a video on out. Family oriented, kids use these playgrounds, swing sets, smaller swings for young ones, rubber matted for safety. One of the cons, I guess you would say, for this park is going to be the bridge. You're going to get noise coming across the bridge, especially with big trucks, diesels, air braking. But I will say that when we're camping here, you know, after 10 o'clock at night, it's pretty quiet. You just don't have the traffic that you normally would have. And you kind of get used to it during the daytime. Also, the other thing that we do have is we do have the dam. So we do have boats that are locking through. And as they lock through, they're going to be sounding a siren when they're letting the water in, letting the water out, or directing the barges or boats into the lock. They'll fire the siren up, so you hear that. And that can go off at night, at time when barges come through, but it really hasn't bothered us at all. We're going to be entering area C. It's got some nice spots. Area C10, we see here in the bend. That's been one of our favorite places to camp. It's kind of away from everybody. It's more isolated, and it has a great view, and it is level. We'll take a really good size camper as far as length goes. Bathrooms, again, like I said, the bathrooms are really clean. They do them a couple of times a day during the summer, I know for sure. And each one's a single. Kind of grab the inside of one and show you what they're like. This area over here on the right hand side, this is C7, 5, and 3. These are all brand new pads that they've built. They will handle big rigs, as you can tell. Nice and level. They fixed these up after the flood. On the riverside, starting with C9, these are all slanting toward the river. This is going to be the most level of the ones we have here other than C2. Not sure if you can tell by looking down through there very easily, but some of them slant to the passenger side, and they're also fairly steep. So as your campers are longer, the front end is going to have to go down more. If you got a low riding camper, you're going to probably have to put something under the wheels on the camper to get it up, to get it level. If you got a camper that sets higher off the ground, it may not be as big of a challenge. But I have seen folks that we know that's come in and have, camp in these areas here, and it was a struggle to get them level. They'd have the tongue setting almost on the ground. C8, it's a nice spot, it's a good view, but it is steep and it does lean more toward the passenger side, slant that way. C6, same thing. This is uphill from the get-go. When you get your wheels back against the stop back there, if you get them against the stop, if you got a long trailer, it's got stretches out behind the wheels quite a ways, you're going to get closer to that table. But this is not going to take a long rig at all. You're going to have something shorter to get into this. And it's just a steady slant all the way down. And it's a fairly steep slant. So getting something level on this would be a real challenge. Same thing with this location here. It should be C4. It's a slant all the way down. It'd be a hard to get, unless unless you've got enough blocks to get under the wheels to raise it up. You're going to have a challenge to get it level. Again, of course, if you're higher off the ground, it'd be a lot easier. C2, slight slant. C2 is an awesome one. We like it. How you all doing? Great. It's going to be a great week to camp. C2, pros and cons, is C2 is right next to a boat ramp, so if they have a tournament going on or just people coming out to fish, they might be launching early in the morning. This could be a con for some folks because of the noise. It could be a pro for some folks that like to fish. This spot here is C01, very level. We'll take a big rig. It's got a nice long drive getting back to it, to the pad. It's in the shade for the most part with the shade trees, but some sun exposure in the morning, probably a little bit in the evening. We're entering area D. Here we got D1 and D2. D1 is pretty level. D2 has got a real heavy slant toward the driver's side. D1 can hold water if you get a lot of rain and it flows down. D2 not so much, but it does have a real heavy slant. You have to really chalk it up on the driver's side. D15, level. It's a good spot. Here we have the camp host, one of them. D14 is level. As you can see, it collects a little bit of dirt down on the lower end. That tells me that the water is flowing downhill, which it does here at these spots. It flows down just on the back side of them. If you look real close, and we'll show you up here, all these have there's a drainage that runs down through there that the water flows into. D12. This one slants toward the passenger side. It levels out as you get back to the back. This spot here is more level. It's D11. D10, it'll take a longer rig. It's fairly level. One thing I would say about these spots is that if you get a heavy rain, they're going to hold some water, and there's going to be water flowing through because of the drainage ditch that's on the back side. D9. I think I said that was D14 back there. It was D13. And if you notice, these are concreted pads for your table and everything, picnic table. They may be going to do this to the rest of them. Maybe they ran out of money at the time. But if we get a deluge of water coming through, as you're going towards that drain over there, you're actually going uphill to get to it. And if you're going this way, it's going downhill. So your water is going to be flowing from there this direction as it comes down. But if you look real close as you go in that direction, it slightly goes uphill also. So I think that's the reason the water tends to stand down in here sometimes when you get some really heavy rains. I'm going to make the opposite way around. Paula's coming one direction, I'm going to be going the other. So I can get these sites. D7. Notice we've got dirt and mud that's standing down there on this one. This level. This site's going to be level to the back. As you get toward the front though, it angles more over to the passenger side. And we'll have dirt, mud standing down there at this end. Maybe it's an electrical problem, but they've had it coned off for quite some time. I know it was last year when we've come down. This is D4. Really good memories we had here on this particular campsite. This is D3. Again, nice spot. Not quite as shady in the mornings, but it is a good spot. Now, it does slant toward the driver's side. So section A is closed for the winter. A1, it's got a slant to it. If you got a long rig, you're going to have to raise it up. It's going to have to come up quite a bit. I don't think you can see the slant in the video that it has, but we've seen campers in it, and we've seen them block the front end way up. And the taller your camper is off the ground, of course, the more in the front you've got to raise it up. A2, short camper is awesome. You can get it. You're still going to have to raise it up some in the front because it does have a slant to it. But your longer rigs are going to have a much more of a slant that they're going to have to deal with, raising it up in the front. To kind of give you some idea, that's what I'm talking about as far as the slant. If you look at A3, A3 doesn't look like it's got much of a slant at all. However, we were camped right behind here last year, and I believe that's the A13, you know, when we get around there. And there was probably a Mercedes van here, somewhere between 21 and 24 foot. And when he hit his load levelers, automatic load levers, brought the front wheels off the ground. So even though it doesn't look like it's got a lot of slant to it, it's definitely got a slant. But it worked for him. He was able to get her up and get it level. A4 and A5. A4 is really level. Yeah, that's about as level as I can see any of them out here. This is a nice spot right there, especially if you got a long rig. When we camp, since we got such a short rig, we try not to take the longer sites, except for C10. We'll grab it once in a while because we just like it there. We have friends come, but we try to get the shorter ones and leave these for the bigger rigs. A5's got a pretty steep slant, pretty much slow, like, well, may even be a little bit more of a slant than what A3's got to it. Again, nice view on this side. Nice shade trees. It's A7. It's flat, but it does have a slant to the driver's side. So I have to block up the driver's side on this one here. But it does have a nice area for picnicking, the table and everything covered. A6, it's got a really steep slant to it. But it's got probably one of the best views. On the back end, your door and everything's opening right out to the riverside. Got a neat looking tree here too. I like that. This is gorgeous. Almost a natural swing coming out there. Right there. It is a nice one. Our camper, little camper would set up here really well, wouldn't it? It is, but the longer your rig,
yeah, the
more you're going to have to raise it up. A8 is good and flat, yes. It's a good spot. A9. A9 is it's flat up on top. Up here close to where they've got the pad and the concrete and everything, but when you get down here you've got a steep slant. So if you got a really long rig, you may have a problem getting that guy level if he gets out this far. It's also a nice spot. Of course, you get a big old rig right there, you're going to block the river. Wouldn't have a very good view. I've really liked what they've done since the flood with these spots here. Come in, put all the concrete in, put the retaining walls up around the concrete, made them all look nice. I think they may have attacked this one before they attacked the others over on D. That's why maybe they didn't get all finished out. Okay, again, A10, short rig, no big deal. You get a longer rig, you're going to have to raise her up. A11's a little bit less of a, well, can't say that. It's flat on top and it slants off. Let's see if we can kind of get some idea how this looks. Not sure if that helps or not. Pretty much all the spots over here in the A section are going to have a slant to them, a heavy slant. You don't have to work at getting it level. Anywhere from our size 13 up to maybe 20, not a bigger deal. 12, 8, 13, yes, I thought so. A13, yeah. Got a dip. All the traffic slows down. A13, our favorite spot. We can get in it really easy. A13, 13 foot, we got it made. But when we get in, got a big pad up here. When we get in the place, then we don't have any obstruction of any kind of view of the river from here. That's why we like this spot. A15, 14, A14. Really big slant on this one here. And as it drops off, it kind of slants over further away from the pad. It slants over toward the passenger side. Okay, A15. got a story on this one here. Is when we was camping day 13, there was a fifth wheel, probably about 48 feet long, and well, he was all the way in, but he never got the front level on it. It was way down. She's thinking. I expect we'll be back here before too long, as soon as they open it up. Either that or over on the other side. She really likes this part. You guys catching anything?
Oh, we just got here.
Oh. Well, good luck. Well, that concludes our review of this park, Toad Suck Park, just slightly south of Conway, about 7 miles. I want to post something at the end of the video. They have what's called Toad Suck Days here, and I believe it's in March. I have to look when I get back to my computer, but I believe it's in the middle of March of this year. We just hope that this gives you enough information to make an informed decision. We appreciate you watching the video and hope you come back for our next.